Well, I've been getting a lot of questions about why did I try to make an S10, well, in this case rather an S15, a dually? Well, I wanted something that had really strong towing capacity and could tow my 20-foot and my 28-foot enclosed car trailer. And I figured an S15 was the way to go. Just kidding. Seriously. About 15 years ago, my credit was in the toilet and all that good stuff, and doing odd jobs, bouncing around and not taking a lot of things serious. I ended up meeting some really good people, and they gave me a job. And well, next thing I know, I'm buying a house. And it had been so many years, and I've seen this, I think it was a 2000, I think it was at the time, Chevy 3500 and dually, and I was like, I just had to have it. And normally I think I'm pretty quick and pretty, I pay attention to things if I can, but I had giant eyes when I looked at this thing, and it was just like, I bought it from I bought the truck, the 3500, from a little mom and pop operation. And of course I'm thinking, well, the price they were asking, it wasn't a lot. It was a lot for me at the time, but it really wasn't a lot in the grand scheme of, say, what trucks are going for now, even used. So the fact that I was able to go and approve for the loan to get it and whatnot, I was ecstatic, and I just didn't do my homework on it, and I take total responsibility for it. I screwed myself. So long story short, I got it and made some payments on it. Everything was fine, all that good stuff. And then I started having issues with it, electrical issues. Now, first thing you're going to say is, what was it? Carfax, I think it is. Like a fool, I didn't check it. And I just took this on its word. That's totally my fault, stupid. I was excited to kind of be back in the game of life, per se. Normally I don't make decisions that fast. A lot of times I'll take someone with me so they can be like, hey, you're getting too excited. Come back to reality. But I thought I was doing a good deal. It ended up not being. So, not naming the dealership, and they're still in business. But anyway, I got the truck, started having a lot of problems. Come find out, it had been wrecked. It was a construction truck that they had just cleaned up, and I didn't know that it wasn't like it was just your base model. I didn't care. It was just like, man, I got approved for this loan. I can get the truck, and to just kind of be back in the game of life and all that stuff, like I said earlier. But I got it, has trouble, and I went and talked to a lawyer because I felt like I had been taken advantage of, and the lawyer agreed, and I actually had a case. And the lawyer is I think he wrote a bunch of books on fraud and whatnot. And I did have a case with it, but again, I didn't ask. I couldn't have, even if I did ask, I couldn't afford him and the truck payment at the time. So I said, you know what, I'll let the truck go. Don't ever do that, because you're getting rid of evidence. The truck was evidence in the fraud case, and I just didn't think, I did and I didn't. I should have asked. Even if I did ask and he said, you got to keep the truck, I still couldn't afford him and the truck. Long story short, the truck was gone, and I was just like devastated, just mentally, because I worked so hard to get straight. And it wasn't the end of the world, but at that point in time, I just felt like it was. So I let the truck go, and it went to auction. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, I'm going to be screwed for this. The people I work for actually let me work Saturdays as well for shorter hours, but my same salary pay for a day. And I was thankful for that. Well, long story short, again, I say that a lot, but the truck went to auction, and I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to be just screwed, nailed to the wall, paying for this thing as if I still owned it. That truck sold $2,500 less of what I owed on it. So I immediately went to my savings, took $2,500 out of my account and went straight to the bank, credit union it was, and paid it off. And I owed zero. Now, my credit was still in the toilet again, or back in the toilet again. So I went to another dealership, and that was this '01 white 3500 dually, beautiful truck, fully loaded. And even with even with a $4,500 down payment, I was still denied for the loan because the repo was still fresh on my credit. So I came home and I was just distraught, down. I pretty much sat in the dark and just kind of watched movies all weekend. That's something I don't normally do. But sometimes I do actually recharge a day or two, but I was just really down. So I don't know, come Monday morning, like I went back to work and the people, they could tell I was down, and they actually offered to just kind of help me out because, I mean, they were very wealthy people, and I was just like, you know, kind of like a child almost, like, screw it, I don't care about anything. So I got thinking, I said, you know what? I don't want to borrow money from them, even if I probably didn't have to pay it back, but I didn't want to borrow money from them. I didn't want to do anything like that, so I was like, stewing in my own crap per se. So what I did was I said, you know what? I can't buy a dually. I'm going to make one. I didn't care if I had a golf cart. I was going to have a dually. I wanted a dually so bad. I just wanted, it had to be a dually. It didn't matter what it was. So I said, you know what? I'm going to have a dually. So I got looking around online and I thought about, you know, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a real bad negative and turn it into a positive. Even though it's going to be a joke, it's going to be a positive. I can stand up and say, I had a dually. I've got one. Now, it's kind of like this, the joke of you go see a pretty girl and you're like, hey, I got a vet. And she's like, wow. And you walk out to the parking lot and it's a Chevette, right? So anyway, I said, I'm going to take this negative and turn it into a positive. So I already had this truck here. It had a 2.5 liter engine in it, 5-speed. And it was kind of on its way out, and I just drove it to and from work. I bought this truck mainly because of the bed. It had a perfect bed on it. And I use that for my 93 that I have, that I take to Carlisle and be going to mini nats as well. But anyway, so I put a wooden bed on it. Again, as a joke, it was a good, decent running truck. And I was like, okay. So I got driving it, and the 4-cylinder was kind of just really on its way out. And everything kind of coincided with that truck getting repoed. Then it blew a head gasket. So I said, again, I'm going to make this into a dually. And of course, I told some people just joking, and they were like, first thing was like, why? Well, naturally, you're not going to be towing anything with it. You can tow your typical little trailers and whatnot with it, but it's a joke. It's all for, it's cosmetic. It's just, I don't know, same thing, why you want to lower a truck, why you want to raise it up, why you want to, whatever. So I got looking around and I ended up finding the same company that I think back in the late 80s, maybe late 80s, early 90s. This company out in California, they did kits for some of these trucks. They called the Zimmerman package. I think you could get it like aftermarket, like at a dealer or something like that. Don't quote me on that. But Zimmerman trucks are a thing. So I got looking around and I emailed this company, and they called me back. And they called me actually. And so he was like, yeah, you know, we make the adapters and we make the the wheels. And everyone was like, well, you can get a rear cut down. Yeah, I can, but then I'm thinking it's still an S10. Well, I take a nice beefy rear and put it in this. This is how I felt about it. So what I ended up doing was he told me what he did and the stuff he made, and I was like excited about it. So I said, go ahead, start making the adapters and the wheels and get them sent to me. So when I told him what I was doing, he laughed. He was like, all right, we're going to turn an S10 into a dually. But then he kind of went on, I don't know if it was the same guy that owned the company, but he joked around. I kind of took it as if maybe he wasn't. But and I think that company actually makes wheels for, like, you know, those box trucks. There's like little seafood trucks. Like there's a company here that hauls around here that hauls mulch and like those little dump bed trucks and whatnot. But anyway, I went and had those made, and I put those on my credit card. And again, it was like, you're gonna turn this thing into a dually. I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna have a dually. One way or the other, I'm gonna have a dually. And again, it was the negative to positive. It's like, yeah, it wasn't the dually of my dreams, I thought at the time, but it was a dually nonetheless, and Mike T had a dually. So that's what I did. So in between that happening, and like I said, the engine kind of going, fading in and out, and I said, you know what? While I'm waiting for the kit and wheels and stuff to get made and shipping, they came from California, like I said. So by the time they were coming, a friend of mine had an 88 Firebird. And I've always liked the TPI intakes and whatnot. So he gave me that for an awesome deal. So I brought it here and took it apart, got everything done, took the intake and stuff off. The engine had a ton of miles on it, so I didn't keep the low end. I went to the junkyard, found me a guaranteed engine. It had 99,000 miles on it from a Caprice, from a Chevy Caprice. And so I took the bottom end, cleaned up what I could, and I didn't re-ring it and anything like that. I didn't need it. It was in great shape. Some older guy had it, and he just got rear-ended at a stoplight. But everything checked out, engine good, all that stuff. So I went ahead and did that, got the intake. I'll show you the intake here in a bit. But that's the story with that. So the thing of it is, sometimes you get dealt lemons, but looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't, because I really, other than wanting that truck, and it was just cool, I really didn't need it at that time. And as some of the years kind of progressed, it's just like, I'm not hauling around. The drag strips around here have closed up. And I'm not, of course, they had more power than what I'm actually driving now. But again, I don't really do a ton of towing. I tow my mowers for my job and my work. And of course, I'm hauling my car trailer, my open car trailer or whatnot, and things like that with my tractor, stuff like that. But it just worked out to where it wasn't meant for me to have that at that point in time. And it was a good lesson as well. And the story that came with this, the people I work for thought it was awesome. Of course, if you knew them, you'd understand why that was cool, that they thought it was awesome. But I enjoyed putting it together. I ended up having fun with it and just laughing. It was kind of like, I don't know, kind of dating myself here, but the video for the Huey Lewis and the View, Huey Lewis in the News, where he's like, I think the song is, If This Is It, I think it is. I think that's the song. But anyway, there's a video to where he says he wants to go on my yacht. And the girl is like, yeah. So she gets on the boat with him, and the big yacht moves out of camera frame, and then you see his little small dinghy that says my yacht on it. But yeah, that was the thing with that. Trying to turn a negative into a positive. And I had a lot of fun with it, and I get quite a bit of attention with it, and the story with it gets attention because I was just wallowing, anytime you've ever been knocked down a rung off the ladder, or even a couple rungs off the ladder, you just think, why bother? Who cares? But sometimes things like that happen for a reason. And but this was the aftermath of it. So what I did was, I went to TCP Global and got a single stage paint because I'm not very good at body work and stuff like that. So I said, well, I'll do like a little military theme. That way, some of the dings that it has that I didn't take out, it kind of like, well, she's a used military. Well, you can see one right there, a little ding on it. But that's why I did that. And then, of course, I've always liked the little military stuff, and that's just my taste and whatnot. But here's the wheels and the adapters on it. And of course, I threw this, if you want to call it, I threw this bed together, obviously, right? It's made out of wood because I was thinking I'm going to build this truck the least amount of money possible. What can I do? That's kind of a gag. And that's what I did. This box right here came from Harbor Freight. I painted it. The truck's dusty now. It's been sitting in my shop for a little bit. I haven't drove it in a while. I've been working on the seats and just, as you can see, there's between working on mowers and projects and other people's projects and making a living and all that stuff, sometimes things kind of take a vacation. But I went to Northern Tool and I bought these, I think they're Jeep fenders, drilled them out. This came from Home Depot, and just, you know, you see what's going on here. Kind of cut these down. This is just like flat steel from Home Depot, Lowe's. This right here is just actually a tarp, a mesh tarp, because some of the wood was fading, and I figured that kind of just gives it a little aesthetic there. But over the winter, my friend and I, we're taking this off, all the wood, and we're going to do this out of metal, because the truck ended up better than kind of what I thought it would. Now, it's not super show quality, don't give me that, you know. But we did powder coat the wheels and all that good stuff. Like I said, I'm working on the seats. I just got this fit to where I can sit on it, and it's comfortable, and I like the height and stuff. These seats, they didn't come with brackets, and with the factory brackets I have, I just did not like how the ass end of the seat sat so far down and with my knees up. I just didn't like that. So the seats are nice. They're really nice seats. Not super expensive, but anyway, I got that one situated. I finished that up the other day. I just got to put the back on it and take it apart and sandblast and powder coat the brackets the way I want and all that stuff. But like I said, the engine, I got to bounce the camera around a little bit. Give me a second. I'll be back in 2 and 2. And I'm back. So this is the engine. TPI 350. I did the computer swap. This engine thinks it's in the Firebird still. I mean, it fires right up and runs perfect. Like I said, it was just having fun, kind of, and while I was having some downtime with other things, this just kind of came to be. Once I fired it up, excuse me, when I fired it up, this thing has given me zero trouble since I've started it up over 8 years ago now, 9 years ago, something like it, maybe more. But it's very dependable. I just upgraded the tank. I took the 13-gallon tank out, and I put the 20-gallon tank in, new sending unit, fuel pump, all that stuff. This hood, excuse me, this hood, actually, I bought this from a swap meet. It's a Cervini's hood. They're like $800 or $900, and I think it's more shipped, or it might be $800 shipped, give or take. But either way, I know it's close to $1,000 brand new, because I've got one sitting right over here in the corner. I forgot, I know it was close to $1,000 that I paid for it. It might have been maybe, like I said, between $800, somebody might correct me. But anyway, bought that from a swap meet for $50. And what it had on it was someone had, I don't know why, but somebody had used, I guess, like, it looked like brick paint. It was like really textured and really, really thick. So I came out in the winter when I got it and just wet sanded a little bit here and there every night till I finally got it all off. And of course, can you see, I don't know if you can see, but shadow, Cervini's. So I was like, wow, that's cool. So I put that on it. Put some headers on it. Had these Cerakoted. And of course, you know, powder coated the fender wells and intake and stuff like that. Got my little homage there to the Firebird that died for the cause. The car was shit. Crap. I don't know if you can cuss on here or not. Anyway, but the engine, everything was there, was unmolested. So like I said, I took the engine out, cleaned everything up. Computer swap. Like I said, this engine thinks it's in the car. It runs perfect. Here in a second, I will show you. I haven't started this, and like I said, it's a little dusty. I need to take it out and give it a wash. I did probably, like 2 weeks ago. It just gets dusty in here with me in and out of here with projects, and right now I trying to get my mower back going, my 740, waiting for some injectors and some lines and stuff so I can get all that straight. But anyway, in between working and in and out, you know, causes dust. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? They're gonna bury you in dirt, so what does it matter? But anyway, as you can see, ice cold. She hasn't started probably in a week. I don't let my things sit. I'm always out here moving stuff around, even if I'm not driving it at the exact moment and whatnot. But yeah, it's a little dusty. I like realism. You know, everything can't be clean and perfect all the time. Like I said, I have enjoyed it. I love driving it. It's fun, a little peppy, but you know, like I said, it's stock. It's not going to win too many drag races. If we do drag race, but we don't do that. Anyway, kind of rambling on. But, you know, put a new grill on it, new bumper, and like I said, I shot it, I painted it, scuffed it down, painted it up. Turned out pretty good, I think. Not, you know, like I said, it's not a show ride, nothing like that. But so, like I said, ice cold. And I think I've got bear with me, I think I've got over here on one of my shelves. Ah, here it is. Let's see if I can aim and so yeah, it has not been started. So kind of all over the place here. Maybe one day I'll get better at making videos. I'm not a fan of intro and outro and the corny YouTube music. I don't know. I just wish I could put like real cool music on it, you know? I just hate that generic guitar intros and things like that. That's just my taste. But so with me, we're gonna dive right into videos. We're just gonna go right on in. We're just gonna start talking. I might even come in half sentence, who knows? But before I fire this up, been out here tonight measuring. I'm thinking I might try to put a 5-speed in this. The Hot Rod Power Tour 2025. The first stop came out today. I don't know if it was by accident, but one of the drag strips that they go to put out their schedule, and of course they've got to put everything on it. They can't, you know. So they put out the 2025 schedule, and Hot Rod Power Tour is June 9th, first stop at this particular place. So I've kind of been looking at the Tremec 5-speed for this thing. Yeah, I'll get the hood painted sometime. I think I told you the hood, this is an aftermarket hood, and it fits like crap. It is what it is, and it's kind of hard to find. You know, used parts around here, or nowadays, man, people know what they got, and you're not gonna get it cheap. So, but I might scuff this down and put just some black paint on it to make it look a little bit better. The truck itself looks great. The hood kind of doesn't do it any favors, but hey, it is what it is. I got other trucks that are nicer to kind of get all the attention, but that's what I've been thinking about doing for that. But anyway, kind of rambling off, getting off subject, off topic. But what I was saying about the rear, kind of get back on that. I didn't want to waste a nice rear. Plus, where I live, it's kind of it's not much around here. There's not many custom shops here. It's like hours away. So I'm thinking, my thought was, by the time I find the rear, go get it, find a competent shop that can do the job, do it right, correctly, and be happy with it, blah, 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 and whatever. I just figured, man, by the time I buy these adapters, one, that rear that I cut down would never see the work that it was meant to do. So to me, it was just kind of a waste, unless you just, I mean, you know, hey, you got the money, you got the resources to do it. But where I live, it's just, man, it's a ghost town. It's kind of like Nowheresville. So it's kind of like by the time that guy, he could ship out the wheels within a week, or I could find the rear, go to the junkyard, get one, buy one, get someone cut it down. Then I got to take the truck. They got to measure it, make sure everything's right. How many people has gotten screwed over, engine work, mechanical work, and you're rolling the dice either way. But I kind of just didn't care at the time. I was like, it's still a dually for all intent and purposes, whether it's got the, and yeah, see, I'm gonna, like I said, when I redo the bed, all that's getting redone. They worked on the road down here a while back, and they just kind of threw down some asphalt and some rocks on it. And I didn't know that, and the way I went, it just picked up the rocks and started slinging, and of course it was just too late. I just never got around to, but over the winter, all this is gonna be taken care of. But like I said, this right here, cold start. Not bad at all. I thought about taking this on the power tour last year, and I'm glad I didn't, because some of them roads that we went on, wow, is all I can say is wow. So I'm surprised I didn't bust a wheel, or bend a wheel, I should say, or pop a tire on this. But either way, it was still a good time. But if I go again, I'm going to take some different routes. Talk to some people, see if they want to do it, and we'll see what happens. Like, I'm thinking about taking the 73, but we'll see. Anything can change. That'd be kind of fun. 5-speed would make it a lot more fun. It's got a 4-speed in it right now. That was it, the SM 465 low. Excuse me. Was I think like the Granny 4-speed or something like that. I did a lot to that truck to make it a lot more road friendly, and it's not too bad now, but 10-12 hour drive might be a little bit more than I want to bite off. I've been doing this stuff for a while, so yeah, I kind of paid my dues with 3-4 grand, 50 miles an hour. But I'm definitely glad I didn't take that, because my head would have been through the roof with some of them bouncy roads. But like you said, this thing runs great. Right now, it's probably got maybe like 105,000 miles on it now, give or take, maybe 110, something like that. But like I said, you let it warm up, this thing runs awesome. Never had a problem with it. So, that concludes that. The IAC is about to close. But appreciate you listening and watching. I think I'm gonna try and do some stuff over the weekends and try to have something out on Mondays and Tuesdays. Man, I'm just so maybe too trifling to get things out here to record stuff. But I've always got stuff going on, like I said before. Getting this together. Finally got my headers back for this. Next I gotta swap out the tank, run some new lines on it, and she's not far away herself. Just run some lines and put some, just clean up some wiring, but kind of got off topic. It was supposed to be about my dually tonight, but hopefully by maybe next week, I'll have the seats in it, get it cleaned up again. Well, that's that. Thanks for watching. If you did, tell some friends. Working on stuff, getting things situated. Like I said, still playing with the video and camera and all that stuff. I might be saying that 2-3 years down the road. That's just where I roll. But I'm gonna try to do some things and do some things on the weekends, or whatever I do work on, kind of put it out maybe Mondays or Tuesdays. See how that goes, see what I want to do. But it's all about having the fun, the friends, and the journey, as they say. That's it for me. I'm out.